Recent events in women's basketball have highlighted apparent inconsistencies in how media and players respond to similar on-court incidents involving different athletes. The situation centers around technical fouls received by both Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers for comparable actions during games. Both players received technical fouls for clapping at referees following disputed calls. Clark's incident involved clapping toward an official, while Bueckers approached a referee and clapped directly in front of them. Officials correctly assessed technical fouls in both situations, as such behavior toward referees warrants disciplinary action regardless of the player involved. The contrast emerged in the aftermath reactions. When Clark received her technical foul, extensive commentary and criticism followed about her conduct and demeanor. However, when Bueckers faced a similar penalty, the response was markedly different. Teammates and observers appeared more lighthearted about the situation, with some even showing amusement during and after the incident. This disparity reflects broader patterns in how different athletes are perceived and treated within professional women's basketball. Clark has faced numerous hard fouls throughout her career. Reportedly 7 or 8 flagrant fouls have been called in her favor, with additional uncalled incidents occurring. This suggests a pattern of physical targeting that extends beyond normal competitive play. It's as simple as that. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and this is the biggest example. So, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers both got teed up for doing the exact same thing. So Caitlin Clark clapped at a referee and got teed up. Paige Bueckers clapped in a referee's face. Paige clapped in a referee's face. I didn't realize it, I don't have the actual footage of the differential treatment stems partly from perceived threat levels. Other players and media may view Clark as a more significant competitive threat, leading to heightened scrutiny and more aggressive defensive approaches. Meanwhile, Bueckers, despite possessing elite talent and potential to become one of the sport's premier players, hasn't generated the same level of defensive intensity or media criticism. Fan communities surrounding both players exhibit similar passionate characteristics, often displaying extreme loyalty that can border on excessive. The notion that one fan base behaves differently from another overlooks the reality that devoted followers of individual athletes typically demonstrate comparable intensity levels regardless of the specific player they support. Media coverage reveals additional inconsistencies. When Clark expresses frustration with officiating or displays competitive emotion, commentary often focuses on her attitude and suggests she deserves aggressive treatment from opponents. Conversely, when Bueckers shows similar emotions, the narrative shifts toward discussing referee quality and game management rather than criticizing her behavior. Professional sports media faces challenges regarding impartiality. While individual content creators and fan-focused platforms openly acknowledge their preferences and biases, credentialed journalists covering entire leagues should maintain objectivity. However, much of the current coverage demonstrates clear preferences either supporting or opposing specific players, particularly regarding Clark. I thought that was in this, but she walked up to the referee and clapped. She walked to the referee and just clapped in their face. Which is, look, it is a technical foul. There doesn't need to be think pieces. There doesn't need to be think pieces. It's a technical foul. It is what it is. The referees called the right thing in both situations. They're both technical fouls. Caitlin Clark deserved the technical foul. Both of them were reactions to missed calls. It happens. It's basketball. Players play with emotion, and for the first time, we've seen Paige show some emotion in her W. The credentialed media landscape shows predominantly negative coverage toward Clark, while fan-generated content tends toward positive portrayals. This polarization leaves little middle ground perspective, making balanced analysis rare. Both players possess exceptional abilities and potential for greatness. Clark's trajectory suggests she could become an all-time great with proper team construction and coaching support that maximizes her unique skills rather than conforming her to conventional approaches. Similarly, Bueckers displays qualities reminiscent of elite players like Maya Moore and could achieve similar heights with appropriate supporting cast development. Coaching considerations play crucial roles in both players' futures. While current coaching staff may have positive relationships with players, optimal development might require different approaches that better complement each player's distinctive skill sets and competitive nature. The targeting Clark experiences likely would extend to any player reaching similar prominence levels. Should Bueckers achieve comparable status and recognition, she would probably encounter similar treatment from opponents and media scrutiny in NBA career. But afterwards, people are like, Stewie just goes tech. But people are going mad saying oh, Stewie just did what she did. As like, Stu, you got the fee Collier, like, that's competitors. That is competitors. And now you've got Paige getting teed up, and like, them just laughing with Paige Beckers afterwards. At the same time, I don't know exactly, like JC Sheldon grabs Paige Beckers over the Osquath tag. These incidents highlight systemic issues within women's professional basketball regarding referee consistency, media impartiality, and competitive conduct standards. Improved officiating could reduce many problematic situations by addressing fouls more consistently before they escalate into larger confrontations. The fundamental issue transcends individual players and reflects broader challenges in maintaining consistent standards across the league. Whether addressing physical play, technical fouls, or media coverage, establishing uniform approaches would benefit all participants and improve the overall competitive environment. And then we got Angel Reese at 13. When it comes to WNBA fan voting, Angel Reese and the Reese's Pieces continue to have more Twitter fingers than actual action. They continue to talk a good game instead of being about a good game. Both technical fouls represented routine basketball situations where emotions influence player behavior following disputed calls. The dramatic differences in subsequent reactions and commentary reveal more about existing biases and double standards than about the actual incidents themselves. Moving forward, addressing these disparities requires acknowledgement from media, players, and league officials about inconsistent treatment patterns. Only through recognizing and correcting these imbalances can the sport achieve the fair and competitive environment that showcases all players' talents equally. Vows for, and they're like confused about it. But I don't know, like, as a fan, if you're a fan of a player, you'd rather see this. You would rather see the best player in the world throwing that at you. You would, or not say Jet, not the best player in the world, geez, one of the best players of all time. I'm not going to call Stewie the best player in the world, Jesus, Fee Collier is, but like, who treating Caitlin the same way she would treat Nafisa Collier as a competitor. The comparison between Clark and Beckers serves as a case study for broader issues affecting women's professional basketball, demonstrating how identical actions can generate vastly different responses based on pre-existing perceptions and biases, rather than objective evaluation of the situations themselves. The initial WNBA All-Star Game fan voting results have unveiled significant insights about player popularity and fan dedication across different team bases. Caitlin Clark stands as the sole player to surpass 500,000 fan votes, establishing herself as the clear frontrunner in public support. Indiana Fever represents the most successful franchise in terms of fan mobilization, placing 4 players within the top 10 vote recipients. Caitlin Clark leads with over 500,000 votes, followed by teammate Aaliyah Boston in 3rd position, Kelsey Mitchell securing 7th place, and Lexi Hull claiming 9th position. This unprecedented showing demonstrates exceptional organizational strength from Fever supporters. The complete top 10 rankings reveal Clark at number 1, Nafisa Collier 2nd, Boston 3rd, Aja Wilson 4th, Brianna Stewart 5th, Paige Buckers 6th, Kiki Arethan also appearing, Mitchell 7th, Sabrina Ionescu 8th, and Hull 9th. Notable achievements include 2 rookies breaking into the top tier and multiple teams achieving representation. Fan voting patterns expose varying levels of supporter engagement across different player bases, while Clark's supporters consistently demonstrate overwhelming participation in voting initiatives, attendance figures, merchandise purchases, and viewership metrics. Other prominent players receive substantially less fan mobilization despite their on-court accomplishment. Particularly striking disparities emerge when examining voting totals for highly publicized players. Angel Reese currently sits at 13th position in fan voting, representing a significant decline from her 7th place finish in previous voting period. This positioning suggests disconnect between social media presence and actual fan engagement through official league mechanism. And then just seeing a team that's just sucks at basketball. They're just, laughing and being buddy after attacking your foul. And I'm like, at the end of the day, there is a different treatment, and there's a different treatment for a reason. These people don't see Paige Beck as a threat. They don't see Paige Beck as a threat, and by the way, I mean this when I say this. Paige Beckers has the ability, could be the best, has the ability to be the best player in the world. The voting system structure allocates influence across multiple stakeholder groups. Fan voting comprises 50% of starter selections, while current players and media panels each contribute 25%. Rankings across all three voting categories determine final scores, with the highest scoring 4 guards and 6 frontcourt players earning starting positions. League head coaches subsequently select 12 reserve players through separate deliberations. Year-over-year voting trends illustrate remarkable league growth and increased fan participation. Comparing recent data with historical figures reveals extraordinary expansion in public engagement. The 2023 voting period generated approximately 35,000 total votes, with Edger Wilson leading, while 2024 saw dramatic increases reaching over 17,000 votes for the leading candidate. Current 2025 numbers indicate continued growth, effectively doubling previous totals. This exponential increase reflects broader league popularity expansion and demonstrates how individual player magnetism can elevate entire league visibility and fan participation levels. Historical voting comparisons highlight dramatic shifts in player popularity and fan base development. Some previously popular players have experienced significant ranking declines, dropping from top 5 positions to locations outside the top 30. These changes reflect evolving fan preferences and possibly indicate performance-based voting patterns rather than purely name recognition. Arike Ogunbowale exemplifies this trend, falling from prominent voting positions to substantially lower rankings despite maintaining professional activity. This decline suggests fan bases require consistent engagement and performance to maintain voting momentum over multiple seasons. Geographic and team-based voting patterns reveal interesting organizational dynamics. Indiana Fever's exceptional representation suggests coordinated fan efforts and strong regional support. Conversely, other franchises with prominent players show less concentrated voting success, indicating varying levels of fan organization and engagement strategies. I don't think she will be, because you can see it. There is a difference when you watch players. There's a difference when you watch players. There's a big difference when you watch, for example, a Jason Tatum type in the NBA, or you watch a Luka type. And I know there's always going to be the arguments, and I do think the arguments that, what's an AMA? Luka Doncic isn't as good as Tatum. The voting methodology changes for 2025 introduce new dynamics affecting player selection processes. The combination of fan, player, and media input creates more balanced evaluation criteria compared to purely popularity-based system. This hybrid approach aims to recognize both public appeal and professional merit in all-star selections. Player mobility and team changes influence voting patterns significantly. Former team affiliations and player transactions create complex loyalty dynamics affecting vote distribution. Fans may continue supporting former players while gradually shifting allegiance to new team members. Rookie performance in voting demonstrates changing league demographics and emerging star power. Multiple first-year players achieving top 10 positions indicates fresh talent attracting immediate fan attention and suggests successful league marketing of new personality. Social media and engagement levels do not necessarily correlate with voting participation, as evidenced by disparities between online presence and actual vote totals. This disconnect highlights differences between passive social media consumption and active fan participation through official league channels. The reserve selection process through coaching decisions introduces additional complexity to all-star roster construction. Coaches may prioritize different criteria than fans, potentially including overlooked deserving players or correcting perceived voting imbalances based on performance metrics. League growth metrics reflected in voting increases demonstrate substantial progress in fan engagement and overall popularity. The progression from thousands to hundreds of thousands of votes indicates successful expansion efforts and growing mainstream appeal. As, he's out of shape and all, but clearly that's not going to happen with Caitlin Clark. But at the end of the day, it is a different way that these players are being treated. And I think if Paige Beckers ever thinks, or ever enters the best in the world conversations, I'm not saying she's going to be targeted like Caitlin Clark is, and let's be real, there's no argument to be made. She's had 7, 8 flagrant fouls committed against her in the last year. Team-specific fan dedication varies considerably across franchises, with some organizations generating exceptional supporter mobilization, while others struggle to convert general popularity into concrete voting action. These patterns reflect broader organizational culture and fan engagement strategies. Since All-Star voting opened, that's more than I can say for the other Reese's Pieces. So guys, if I'm doing my part, all I'm asking is that you folks do your part. Something that I want to talk about, on the left-hand side of your screen, we're seeing the 2025 numbers, and then, boom, on the right side of your screen, you're seeing the 2024 numbers. Arike Ongumbawale. What? The All-Star voting process serves as an annual measurement of player popularity, team loyalty, and league growth trajectories. Results provide valuable insights into fan behavior, marketing effectiveness, and evolving player recognition patterns throughout professional women's basketball. These voting trends ultimately reflect the league's continued evolution and expansion